Welcome to Reddit Audio Tales. After 40 years of marriage, this man thought he'd seen it all, until he discovered his wife's secret. And it wasn't just an affair. It was with someone he never expected. Let's get into the story. After 40 years of marriage, I thought I'd seen it all. Burnt Thanksgiving turkeys. Forgotten anniversaries. 2 kids, 3 miscarriages. A shared mortgage that hung over us like an invisible weight. And that one regrettable time we tried salsa dancing at a community center. Her in sneakers, me with 2 left feet, both of us laughing until we nearly collapsed. But nothing, absolutely nothing, prepared me for what happened after our Ruby anniversary dinner. The night started off normal enough. Candlelight. What? The waiter was trying too hard and the steak was overcooked, but I didn't say anything. I looked across the table at Sophia, and she was scrolling through her phone like a bored teenager. Not even pretending to be interested in the food or me for that matter. I didn't mind. Not really. That's what marriage becomes after a few decades, right? Comfortable silence. Separate worlds side by side under the same roof. We were practiced in this routine. Well-worn. But this time something was different. She was glowing. Not in the compliment your wife before she stabs you with a salad fork kind of way. No, this was the kind of glow I remembered from high school when she got her acceptance letter to art school, or when she saw our son take his first steps. But this glow wasn't for me. And I knew it. Her phone buzzed 3 times during dessert. I watched her smile. Not at me. Not at the clumsy chocolate icing I'd asked the kitchen to pipe on her cake. Forever yours. Crooked letters on melting ganache. No, she smiled at her damn screen. I tried to brush it off. We were full of these quiet, small betrayals by now. But still it not at me. She hadn't smiled like that in months. When we got home, she went straight to the bedroom and came back out in silk. Red silk. Not the old flannel pajamas with paint stains she'd worn every night for the last 10 years. Actual silk, clinging in places I hadn't seen revealed in a long time. God help me, I thought maybe. Just maybe we were about to reignite something. That maybe she was feeling what I was feeling. Nostalgic, tender, open to the possibility of us again. But she rolled away from me. Migraine, she muttered, already clutching her phone like it was oxygen. I lay there, awake, listening to her screen light up behind her shoulder. I didn't ask. I didn't want to be that man, the suspicious husband checking his wife's phone. But in the morning when she left to make coffee, I saw it. Matthew. The name lit up her screen like a firework. I blinked. Once. Twice. Matthew wasn't a coworker. Not a cousin. Not someone from book club or the neighborhood. Matthew was someone much, much worse. Matthew was our son's best friend. I stared at the name like it had slapped me across the face and called me old man. Matthew. 28. Personal trainer. Drove a black Mustang like he was auditioning for a bad action movie. Showed up to family barbecues in tank tops and sunglasses, even when it rained. Always trying to look cool. I'd always thought the guy was annoying but harmless. I was wrong on both counts. Sophia used to call Matthew such a sweet boy. Then it shifted. A driven young man, she'd say with a proud smile. And then, just Matthew, spoken with the kind of breathiness I should have seen for what it was long ago. At first I tried to play it cool. Maybe it was nothing. Maybe Matthew was just helping her with a workout plan. Yeah, a core strength routine if you catch my drift. But the signs were everywhere once I let myself really look. Her sudden obsession with yoga pants. Despite never stepping foot in a yoga class. The way she giggled at texts, then quickly locked her phone with a new passcode. And worst of all, how she started criticizing me. Maybe you should try walking more, she said one morning, wagging a finger. Matthew says daily steps are key. So now Matthew was a prophet. Then came the day I walked into the kitchen and found her on a video call, looking like she'd spent an hour on her hair, makeup flawless, curls bouncing, giggling like she was 19 again. And there he was on the screen shirtless. Matthew. Sophia didn't even look guilty. Not one bit. I stood there by the kitchen counter, arms crossed, eyes narrowed, watching her pour herself another cup of tea, like it was any regular Tuesday morning. So let me get this straight, I said slowly, carefully. Matthew used to just say hi at barbecues. Now he's texting you every day, calling, FaceTiming you in the middle of the afternoon. That's normal. Sophia didn't even flinch. She stirred her tea, took a calm sip, and replied with the kind of quiet that made my blood pressure spike. He's just being helpful. Helpful. Eli is helpful. I echoed it silently in my head like a bad joke. Helpful. What? Did he sense my cholesterol through the grill at the 4th of July party? Sophia shot me a look sharp enough to cut through my doubts. Don't be dramatic. He's a certified trainer. He knows his stuff. He offered to help with some wellness tips, that's all. I raised an eyebrow, not convinced. And those wellness tips require 3-hour phone calls and private video chats? She set her cup down a little too firmly, a flicker of impatience flashing through her calm. You're twisting things. No, I said, voice quieter now but sharper. I'm watching things. There's a difference. She sighed and looked away, suddenly fascinated by the wallpaper pattern on the wall, like it was the most interesting thing she'd seen all day. Look, she said finally, I've just been feeling off lately. Stuck. Tired. And Matthew was kind enough to check in. Gave me advice on eating cleaner, taking care of myself. He encouraged me. That's all. I leaned on the counter, studying her carefully. And you couldn't come to me with that? I've been sitting at the same dinner table with you for 40 years. Her lips tightened and she said quietly, it's not about you. Oh, believe me, I'm starting to get that. I replied, bitterness creeping in. Sophia turned back to me, her tone softening just a little. There's nothing going on, I swear. Just talk. A bit of motivation, a bit of attention from our son's best friend. I said flatly, from our son's best friend. She didn't respond. For a long moment, the only sound in the room was the faint ticking of the kitchen clock, counting down to whatever came next. For the next week, I tried to convince myself it really was nothing. Just conversations. Just tips. Just Matthew being helpful. Sure, and raccoons knock over trash cans to reorganize them. But Sophia, she was different lately. Not in a bad way. Not exactly. She was more energetic, more polished, more alive. Like someone who'd been sleepwalking for years and suddenly found a double espresso and a new playlist. She started making smoothies in the morning, green ones. The kind that looked like pond water but cost $9.99 at those smug little health food stores with chalkboard menus and employees who called you friend. She even bought a new blender. Power blender. Said the old one didn't pulverize enough. Pulverize. Like that was a thing normal people said before 8 a.m. Then came the walks. Long, aimless after-dinner walks, suddenly a part of her routine. She claimed they helped her sleep. I noticed the new sneakers. Neon soles, sleek like something out of a marathon catalog. I didn't remember buying them. But then again, maybe I had. Or maybe Matthew had. Who knows? A yoga mat showed up next. Lavender. Still rolled up, still spotless, still suspiciously untouched in the corner of the living room like a prop in a play where no one remembered the lines. And then there was him. Matthew. He started calling her coach. I know because she left a text open on the kitchen counter one morning, screen glowing like a slap in the face. Crushed it, coach. Crushed what exactly? I wanted to ask. God, I should have asked. But I didn't. Instead, I did something equally pathetic and desperate. I invited Miles over for dinner. Our son. Maybe for backup. Maybe for clarity. Maybe just to see if I was imagining the elephant in the room, doing push-ups and flexing in the mirror. Miles, true to form, showed up late, 30 minutes and 0 apologies. Gave Sophia a quick hug before raiding the fridge like it still belonged to him. So, Dad. He said, reaching for a beer without even looking at me. You hear Matthew starting a YouTube channel? Health stuff, meal plans, all that. I felt a muscle twitch in my cheek. Sophia's smile was too quick, too bright. He mentioned it. She said, voice floating just a bit too high. He's really passionate about helping people take care of themselves. Miles nodded, already halfway into his drink. Yeah, he's been on fire lately. Says he's got a great support system. He glanced at us over the bottle. You know anyone he's working with? Sophia shrugged, casual. Too casual. Just a few folks here and there. My fork clinked against the plate. Too loud. Too sharp. But I didn't say a word. I just watched. I watched how she laughed at every one of Miles's stories. Even the dumb ones she used to roll her eyes at. I watched how she checked her phone twice during dessert. And I watched, really watched, how her cheeks flushed when that name lit up her screen again. Matthew. It wasn't proof. I wasn't naive enough to think I had that. But it was smoke. Thick, curling smoke. And I've lived long enough to know where there's smoke, there's usually Matthew. I'm not the jealous type. Okay, maybe a little. I once gave the UPS guy a death stare because Sophia laughed at one of his dumb package jokes. But this wasn't insecurity. This was intuition. The kind of gut feeling you get when your favorite chair has been moved just a little and nobody admits to touching it. I didn't want to become that guy. You know the type. The one who starts snooping, checking browser histories, peeking at GPS pings. The kind of guy who doesn't ask questions directly but waits until someone's out of the house to go sniffing around for answers. But curiosity's a slippery bastard. It starts off in a whisper, dressed up as concern. And when you've been married 40 years, it feels almost noble. Responsible. Like keeping a watchful eye on your garden. So one evening when Sophia was out on another one of her walks, this one somehow taking her across town and back. I sat down at her computer. I didn't even mean to. I just sat. Just looked. That's it. No prying. No hacking. Just a glance. Her browser was open. Tabs saved. The usual. One was a protein powder review. Harmless. Boring. Innocent. The next one, Matthew's fitness blog. I clicked. Weekly transformation stories. Client of the month. And there she was. Sophia. My Sophia. Grinning, flushed, standing beside Matthew in a gym I didn't even know she'd ever been to. The lighting was too perfect, the pose too familiar. Her hand brushed his arm, like they were mid-laugh or had just shared some inside joke. The caption read, "Proof that age is just a number when you've got the right mindset and a little guidance." Little guidance, huh? I leaned back in the chair. Stunned. Not angry. Not yet. Just displaced. No mention of her being married. No footnote about the husband who'd held her hair back during stomach flus, who'd driven her to appointments, who made her tea with honey every winter without her needing to ask. No pictures of our wedding day, our kids, our old dog, the life we built. Just her and Matthew, beaming like they'd just summit Everest together. I scrolled down. The comments. "Oh wow, Matthew, you work with all ages. That's amazing. She looks fantastic. You two make a great team." Team, right? She came home not long after. Cheeks pink from the wind. Or maybe from something else. She was humming when she took off her shoes. That part got me. The humming. "You okay?" she asked, glancing toward me at the desk. I closed the laptop softly. Smiled. Just checking the weather. The next morning was quiet. Too quiet. She made her usual green swamp smoothie. Frothy, gloppy, medicinal looking. And sat at the table scrolling through her phone. Still humming. Like someone in a great mood. Which, frankly, should have been my first clue that things were very much not okay. I took a sip of coffee. Let the warmth coat my mouth. Then I set the mug down. Just loud enough to get her attention. So I began casually, like I wasn't already holding the answer in my gut. "Didn't know you were the star of a health blog now." She froze. Not for long. Barely a breath. But I caught it. "You don't spend 40 years with someone without learning how to read the air between their words." She blinked once slow. Looked up from her phone. "Oh that," she said, brushing it off. "Matthew just wanted to spotlight a few of his clients. I didn't think it was a big deal." I nodded slow. "Right. Not a big deal. Just you and Matthew. Sweaty. Posing. Inspiring strangers." She set her phone down. I could see it coming. A defensive edge. "You're being ridiculous." "Am I?" I asked, meeting her eyes, not blinking. "Because I don't remember signing a release form for you to delete our entire marriage from your transformation story." She sighed. That long-suffering wife kind of sigh. The one that always meant I was being unreasonable. Again. It was about wellness, Elias. About taking care of myself. "You've said it yourself. I haven't been feeling like me lately." I stared at her then. Not because she was wrong. But because she was rewriting the story without me. I was no longer even a character. "And Matthew helped you find yourself?" She didn't answer that. And that was an answer. "You're overthinking this," she said after a pause, brushing imaginary lint off the counter. "There's nothing wrong with a little encouragement. We're friends. That's all." "Friends," I repeated. "With someone 30 years younger. With abs. And a 6-figure Instagram following. Who calls you coach and sends you fire emojis at 11:45 p.m. I stood, took my mug to the sink, ran water over it. My voice was quiet when I spoke again. Too quiet. "Just tell me one thing." She didn't respond, but I could feel her bracing. "Does Miles know?" I saw her flinch, just a flicker at our son's name. That told me more than anything else had. "I haven't said anything," she muttered. "Because there's nothing to say." I turned, drying my hands on a towel that had our initials stitched into the corner. A wedding gift. Probably still smelled faintly of lavender. Then maybe he deserves to hear it from me. I said sharper now. "Before someone else says, 'Hey, isn't that your mom on Matthew's blog?'" She didn't argue. Didn't raise her voice like in the old days. Didn't hurl back her usual, "You're always looking for something to be upset about." She just looked tired. And for the first time in a long time, I didn't feel tired at all. I felt done. She came downstairs just after sunset. Suitcase in hand. Determination in her eyes. I was on the couch. My usual spot. A glass of water on the table, untouched. The TV was on, muted. Some nature show. Deer picking through snow. I didn't move. I saw her silhouette in the doorway. She stood there for a moment, then stepped into the room. "I've been thinking," she said. Her voice was low but steady. "And I need to say this before I lose my nerve. I didn't blink. Go on. She exhaled. One long breath. The kind people take before doing something they can't undo. I've spent 40 years being everything for everyone. A wife. A mother. A nurse. A cook. A planner. A peacemaker. But somewhere along the way I lost myself. I tilted my head. Couldn't help it. So where'd you find yourself exactly? In the passenger seat of a Mustang? Her jaw twitched. Just a flicker, but I saw it. She didn't like that. Too bad. I didn't care. Not tonight. I want to feel something again, she said, soft but steady. I want joy. Adventure. I want to wake up excited about the day instead of going through the motions. I let out a dry laugh. No humor in it. Just air and disbelief. And Matthew gives you all that. The guy who calls every dog he sees bro? He listens. She shot back. Voice sharper now. He sees me. You haven't really looked at me in years. That one went straight in. But I didn't flinch. Just rubbed my hands together slowly. Palms rasping like dry leaves. Like I was trying to warm up in the middle of a blizzard. Then, I swallowed. So what now? She set her bag down like that was her answer. I'm moving out, she said. I stared at her. My throat burned. Not forever. She added quickly. Just for now. Just for a while. To get some space. I stood. Didn't move toward her. Just looked. And suddenly I didn't see the woman I'd brought soup to during every flu. I saw someone else entirely. Someone already gone. Right? I said, bitter curling behind my teeth. Because nothing says self-discovery like crashing on the couch of your son's childhood friend. She didn't argue. Didn't even blink. She just picked up the bag. Walked to the door. And when it clicked shut behind her, the silence that followed, it wasn't peace. It echoed. I sat back down, eyes on the glass of water I hadn't touched. Watched the settle. Should have known the midlife crisis wasn't mine this time, I muttered. The house was too quiet now. No humming from the kitchen. No slippers shuffling across tile. No sarcastic commentary about the weather guy's ties. Just the hum of the fridge and the occasional creak of the floorboards, like the house itself wasn't sure what to do without her. I sat at the table, notebook open in front of me. Not a journal. I wasn't that sentimental. Just a list. Things Sophia took. One suitcase. Her wellness blender. That stupid lavender robe she wore when she was pretending to meditate. Her vitamins, of course. Things she left. 40 years of memories. Her wedding ring in the drawer. A man who built her a life from scratch and thought it was enough. The part that stung the most wasn't the betrayal. It was the casualness of it. Like she was just going on a little retreat. A spa weekend, but with extra protein shakes and bad judgment. I glanced over at the mantel. The photos were still there. All of them. Our whole damn life. One in particular caught my eye. Miles and Matthew back in high school. Braces. Matching buzz cuts. Grinning like idiots who just short-sheeted every bed in the house. I stared at Matthew's face for a long time. That young, smug face. Then I picked up the frame and turned it face down. It wasn't rage. Not yet. It was something colder. Heavier. Resolve. She walked out of our life like it was a pair of shoes that didn't fit anymore. Well, maybe that was over. Maybe it was time to do something unexpected. Something I wanted. First step. I pulled out my phone. Scrolled down. Landed on Miles. Paused. Then tapped. 3 rings. Then, hey dad. What's up? I cleared my throat. No script. No plan. Just the weight of it in my chest. You free to stop by tonight? Pause. Yeah. Everything okay? I hesitated. No. But I think it's time you knew why. An hour later, the front door creaked open. Miles stepped in holding a bag of takeout and 2 beers like he could keep things light. The second he saw my face, though, I watched the ease drain right out of him. Okay, he said, setting everything down. You're scaring me. What's going on? I didn't waste time. Didn't know how to cushion it. Your mother left. He blinked. Left where? Left me. Packed a bag. Said she needed space. His mouth opened, then shut. Trying to make sense of it. Wait, what? When? What? I exhaled, long and slow. Let's just say she's found herself a new wellness journey. Led by a familiar face. He stared at me. What the hell does that mean? I didn't blink. She's staying with Matthew. And just like that, there it was. The moment where reality punches all the air out of the room. Miles didn't move. Then he let out a short, brittle laugh, like his body needed to reject the words physically. You're joking, right? Please tell me you're joking. I shook my head. I wish I were. Miles, already pacing like the ground had suddenly gone uneven under his feet. No. No way. Matthew? My Matthew? He's like family. I raised an eyebrow. Apparently more than that. He stopped pacing. Color drained from his face, like the thought alone had short-circuited something in him. "You're sure?" "I'm sure," I said. She didn't deny it. Just wrapped it all in some speech about finding herself and needing to feel alive again. You know, the usual motivational poster crap. Miles sat down hard, the air whooshing out of him like he'd been hit. We sat there for a long time, not saying anything. Just two men in a house that suddenly felt like it belonged to neither of us. Then I heard him mutter under his breath, "This is so messed up." "Yep," I said, because what else was there? He looked up, his eyes sharp now and narrowed. "You want me to talk to him?" I let out a short, bitter laugh. "What are you going to say?" "Hey bro, thanks for spotting my mom's emotional dumbbells." Miles groaned and dropped his head into his hands. I got up, grabbed one of the beers he'd brought, popped the top and handed it to him. "Here's to family," I said, flat and dry. He took the beer but didn't clink it against mine. Just stared at the wall, at the photo of him and Matthew still lying face down on the shelf. Neither of us reached to lift it. He didn't sleep that night. I could hear the floor creak under his feet around 2, then again just before dawn. As for me, I didn't even try, just sat in the kitchen like a ghost, sipping coffee that had long gone lukewarm, as if it could keep me from unraveling. Morning came gray and heavy. I was out front trimming the damn hedge. Something to do with my hands, something that didn't think or talk back. When Miles' car tore into the driveway, he didn't even shut the engine off. "He's at the gym," Miles said, marching toward me, eyes red but steady. I called, told him I wanted to meet. "Didn't mention you." I set the clippers down, wiped my hands on my jeans. "What's the plan? Hit him with a kettlebell mid-set?" He didn't crack a smile. "No. I'm going to talk. You're going to watch. And if he lies to my face..." He looked me square in the eye. "Then I'm hitting him with something." We pulled into the parking lot 20 minutes later. It was one of those glass-wall gyms that tried too hard to look high-end. Plants in every corner. Giant LED signage. Everything smelling like eucalyptus and insecurity. Matthew was outside already, leaning against his car. Not the Mustang this time. A brand new SUV. Probably paid for by wellness packages and poor decisions. He waved when he saw Miles, casual as ever, like this was just a friendly catch-up outside a juice bar. Then he noticed me step out of the passenger seat. That smile? Gone. "Hey, mister." Matthew shifted, hands in his pockets trying to play it cool. "Didn't know you'd be here." I gave a slow nod, eyes locked on his. "Yeah, I figured you wouldn't send an invite." Miles crossed his arms, no preamble. "Let's not waste time. Are you seriously seeing my mom?" Matthew blinked. "Well man, seeing is a big word." "Oh really?" I said, taking a step forward. "Because she left our house and moved into wherever you keep your emotional support blender." Matthew's eyes darted toward the gym entrance. Suddenly less zen. "Look, I never meant for any of this to happen. But it did happen." Miles cut in sharp. "You knew she was married. You've known us since I was 12. You came to our house, ate our food, called my parents your second family." He held up both hands like we were coming at him with pitchforks. "Sophia's an adult. She makes her own choices. I didn't force anything. We connected." I laughed then. Low, dry, almost pitying. "You connected? What is this, some kind of phone plan?" Miles took a step closer. His jaw was clenched so tight I could see the muscle twitching. "You betrayed us, man. You disrespected my family. You couldn't have picked anyone else on earth. It had to be my mom." Matthew looked like a man caught between traffic lanes. "It wasn't planned, all right?" We started talking. She felt unseen. I listened. Things happened. I leaned in just enough to make the air shift, colder than it had any right to be. "Then listen to this, Matthew. You may think you've won something here. But all you've done is invite yourself into a storm you have no idea how to weather." Silence. He swallowed hard. "Are you threatening me?" I straightened my jacket, adjusted the cuffs. "No, not yet." Miles jerked his head toward the gym doors. "You might want to go inside. Cool off. Maybe lift something heavy. Like your conscience." We turned. Matthew's voice followed us, weak and reaching. "Tell her I didn't mean to hurt anyone." I didn't stop walking. Didn't even look back. Just raised one hand and said, "You'll have plenty of time to explain that when it all falls apart." And wouldn't you know it, 2 weeks into her so-called space, Sophia was sitting on a gray couch in Matthew's modern but soulless apartment, scrolling through endless streaming options, and trying not to cry into her turmeric protein shake. At first, it had all felt exciting. The escape. The attention. Matthew, with his charm, his relentless affection, his spontaneous detours to nowhere, and those motivational speeches that almost always ended with him flexing in front of a mirror. But reality, it crept in fast. Turns out living with a 28-year-old personal trainer wasn't exactly the eat, pray, love fantasy Sophia must have pictured. It was more like wake to blender noise at 5 a.m. every damn day. Her texts had gotten shorter, less frequent. I knew something was off when she started responding to Miles' messages with sounds good instead of emojis and exclamation marks. I didn't press. That wasn't my job anymore. But I could imagine it. His fridge? Probably no real food. Just color-coded tubs of prepped chicken, an army of protein powders, and enough kale to qualify as agricultural property. She missed her bed. Our bed. The one with the mattress that slumped just a little in the middle. The one that remembered how we slept. How we fit. I didn't need her to say it. I could feel it. She missed dinners that weren't scheduled by macros. Missed laughter that didn't feel like she had to audition for it. Missed silence that wasn't awkward. One night, she tried bringing up a memory. Miles at 8, building a sandcastle with me on some beach that no longer mattered. We watched a wave knock it over and just laughed. That moment was full of something real. I wasn't there, but I know exactly how it went with Matthew. Cool story, babe. He must have muttered, distracted. Can you slide over a bit? The lighting's better on that side. That was probably it. The moment. The snap. She saw the ring light. The smoothie that probably tasted like grass clippings and smelled like loneliness. She looked at him, missed her motivational speech, and finally saw through it. Novelty dressed up as happiness. Pep talks in place of love. A gym crush pretending to be a soulmate. The next morning she packed a bag again. Only this time she didn't know where she was going. Just that it wasn't there. I was sitting on the couch, pretending to read the same page of a book I'd already read twice when I heard the knock. At first I thought maybe it was Miles. Or a delivery. I didn't expect her. She stood there, on the porch, arms folded like she was trying to hold herself together. I flicked on the light. When I opened the door, she looked smaller somehow. Not physically, just worn. I wasn't sure you'd answer, she said, voice barely above a whisper. I held the door with one hand, leaned against the frame with the other. I wasn't sure you'd knock. She nodded. Swallowed. That old nervous tick I knew by heart. Can I come in? I didn't say yes. Just stepped aside. She walked in slow, looking around like it was a museum of her former life. The house smelled like cinnamon. She used to set that scent out on purpose. A little jar of potpourri on the windowsill. Some candle in the kitchen. She inhaled sharply. It hurt more than she expected. She sat at the kitchen table. The same exact spot where we'd laughed over burnt toast. Argued about bills, mapped out summer road trips, and cried through too many damn funerals. Where we'd shared Tuesday meatloaf for so long it felt like a ritual. Matthew was a mistake, she said quietly. I didn't answer. I just waited. A loud, ridiculous, tone-deaf mistake. I let the words hang. Let them echo and bounce off the walls she used to decorate with dried lavender and kids' drawings. I confused attention with sex, with meaning, she said, her voice thinner now. He made me feel wanted and I let that blind me. Still I said nothing. Not out of anger. Just exhaustion. Her hands trembled. Just slightly. I almost missed it. I left looking for something more, she said, but all I found was how much I already had. That was when I finally spoke. You left me for a kid who still wears backwards hats and refers to himself in the third person on social media. She winced. I didn't take it back. Fair, she said. I was selfish. Her voice cracked a little, but she steadied it. I thought 40 years meant you'd always be there no matter how far I pushed. But that wasn't fair to you. I stood slowly, walked to the sink, rinsed my coffee mug. I wiped my hands on the dish towel. I'd rinsed that mug 100 times before, but this time it felt like punctuation. The end of something. I opened the cabinet above the stove, the one she never really paid attention to. The one where I kept things I didn't want to look at until I had to. The manila envelope was right where I'd left it. I turned it over in my hands, then walked back toward her at the table. She was watching me now, eyes wide with something like hope. This is for you, I said, placing it gently in front of her. She looked down, then up at me and slowly pulled back the flap. Her hands hesitated before sliding out the contents. It didn't take long for her to realize what it was. The tears came quick, quiet but full. The kind that hit you in the chest. You're serious, she whispered. I nodded. Yeah, I am. She clutched the envelope like it was made of glass, shaking her head. Elias, please. I know I messed up, but we can fix this. We've fixed worse. We can try. I sat down across from her. Come. Steady. The same way I'd been since the porch light flicked on. I'm getting old, Sophia, I said. And I don't want any more drama in my life. Not in courtrooms. Not in bedrooms. Not in this kitchen. And my name is not Will Smith. Her lip quivered. When we got married, I went on, I meant it. Till death do us part. I paused, let the weight settle. But since I can't live with you anymore, I prefer a peaceful death. Away from you. She cried harder then. No begging. No shouting. Just the kind of weeping that sounds like regret finally catching up to someone. I didn't comfort her. Not because I didn't care, but because I had to let it break. A few months later, we signed the final papers in a quiet room with neutral walls. She wore a scarf I'd bought her years ago. I almost said something. I didn't. And then, that part of my life was done. Now, I live on a farm about an hour outside the city. Nothing fancy. Just space. Quiet. Honesty. I spend my mornings with dirt under my nails and sun on my back. I've got rows of fruit trees. Peach, fig, apple. Watching them grow feels like therapy I never asked for but needed all along. There's a stallion I ride most evenings. Big black beauty named Shadow. We've got a rhythm now like we've known each other a lifetime. I've got goats that scream like teenagers, chickens that follow me like I owe them something. A lazy old dog who thinks he runs the place. And a barn cat who's too proud to admit she likes me. And I love them all. They don't lie. They don't leave. They don't make promises they don't understand. I didn't expect to find peace here. But I did. And that's how a 40-year marriage ended, not with a fight but with silence, regret, and finally peace. Thanks for listening to Reddit Audio Tales. If you felt this story, drop a like, subscribe, and come back for more powerful tales every day.